Right. All right, so we are back and ready for another deep dive.
Yeah.
This time into a poem that's, well, quite lively, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, full of energy.
It is. It's called, and you might recognize this one, Sing Song
Huh?
by Daljit Nagra.
Huh.
And it's, well, it's in the 11 relationships section of your GCSE anthology. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today, those ideas of love and how people connect with each other.
Yeah, yeah. And it's a really interesting one, isn't it? Because on the surface, it's this snapshot of a guy who works in a shop, an Indian shop.
Yeah.
But then at the heart of it, you've got this really strong love story.
Oh, yeah. It's very powerful. Between him and his new wife and the way he talks about her, it's almost like he can't think about anything else.
Yeah, that's it. The poem kind of flicks between, him working in the shop, serving customers, and then these little moments that he steals, with his wife upstairs.
Those little glimpses into their life together.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so cleverly done.
Yeah.
Because the way Nagra uses humor, the humor's fantastic.
It's brilliant. It's really funny, but at the same time, it's how he explores these different relationships.
Exactly.
Now, you said you've got this central relationship, the romantic one,
Yeah.
with his wife. But there's also this more maybe complicated relationship going on between the speaker and his mom and dad.
Yeah, it's definitely more strained, isn't it? You get that sense straight away.
You do, right from the title, really.
Yeah.
So we've got these two very different perspectives, haven't we?
We have, yeah, on how relationships can work, what they can be like.
Right. Well, before we go any further, I think it's worth just quickly mentioning a bit about Daljit Nagra himself.
Yeah, good point. I mean, it always helps to know a bit about the poet, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, yeah. So he was born in 1966 to Punjabi Sikh Indian parents
Right.
who had moved over to Britain.
Yeah.
And this idea of Britishness, of, different cultures coming together, what it means to belong, to be British.
Yeah.
That's something that comes up a lot in his work.
It's a real recurring theme, isn't it?
It is. And he also plays around with traditional English poetic forms quite a bit, which I think maybe we'll spot a few examples of that as we go through Sing Song.
Yeah, definitely. Keep an ear out for those.
And it's interesting as well. His family actually, they owned a shop in Sheffield.
Oh, right.
And they experienced quite a bit of racism.
Which is sadly something that, a lot of families in similar situations.
Yeah, unfortunately, went through at that time.
Yeah.
And actually, Nagra, he didn't start writing poetry until later in life.
Oh, really? So what was he doing before that?
Well, he studied English at uni.
Ah.
And then he became a teacher.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, quite a lot going on there.
Yeah, fascinating.
Right. Okay, shall we jump into the poem then?
Let's do it.
Sing Song. So that title, it seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, on the surface it does, doesn't it? Sing Song.
Yeah. But I reckon there's more to it than that, isn't there?
Oh, I think so, yeah. There's always more going on with titles. Like, take that mention of daddy shops.
Oh, yeah.
Plural.
Yeah.
Even though the speaker spends all his time, running just one.
Just the one.
That's interesting, isn't it?
It is.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, is there some tension there with his dad? Does he not feel like it's his own?
Maybe, yeah. Like he doesn't have that ownership of it,
Yeah.
Almost like he's tied down by it.
Yeah, that sense of responsibility, maybe even a bit of resentment.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
which is interesting because the title, it doesn't just set up that, father-son relationship.
No.
You've also got the romance.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
The love story we're expecting from a poem in this section of the anthology.
Oh, yeah.
But it's almost like the shop, that responsibility, it's placed alongside his wife.
Yeah, as another
Focus in his life.
yeah, focus. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And almost like she's an escape.
Yeah, yeah. From, the family and the expectations and all of that. So
Yeah.
maybe that's where the conflict is going to come from.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It does.
Right. And then we go straight into the poem.
Yeah.
And those first few lines really hit you, don't they?
They do.
We get these really long working hours, 9 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
Non-stop.
Solid. Yeah. And the dad, he makes it clear, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. He want me not to have a break.
No time for messing about.
Not a chance.
But then what does the speaker do?
Well, he sneaks off, doesn't he?
Yeah. D-lock up the stairs to his newly bride. Straight away, his priorities are clear as day.
Absolutely. You know, his wife comes first.
Yeah, she does, doesn't she?
Before the work, before his dad. It's really interesting, isn't it? Because
Well,
that phrase, newly bride,
yeah.
well, it emphasizes how new this relationship is, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're right at the start, still in that honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
But then you've got that possessive my.
My newly bride.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
About
how he sees their relationship.
Oh.
You know, is it all about him? Does he feel like he owns her in some way?
Maybe. Or could it just be, you know, because it's so new?
Oh, yeah.
He wants to, like, emphasize that connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's excited. He's proud.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something to think about, isn't it?
Definitely. It's one of those lines where you can read it in different ways.
Yeah, that's the beauty of poetry.
It is.
So then we get this really lovely scene
Oh, yeah.
with the repetition of V,
Yeah.
V sharing chapati.
Sure did, Shandy.
You really get this feeling of them being close, don't you?
Yeah. Sharing food, sharing everything.
Yeah. That togetherness and then that simile like V rowing through Putney. It's a bit out there, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's not what you'd expect.
No, but it makes it so memorable.
Yeah, it does. And it's funny, too, isn't it?
Oh, it is. I mean, why Putney? I don't know. But it works, doesn't it? It's like he's taking this ordinary moment,
Yeah.
you know, sharing food after they've been together.
Right.
And he's comparing it to something, well, quite specific, you know.
We're rowing through Putney.
Yeah. It's unexpected. And it just makes it, I don't know, it makes it more special somehow, more magical.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though they're just in the shop.
Yeah, it's a good example of how Nagra, he blends the everyday with a touch of the surreal.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. But then we're straight back down to earth.
Yeah, back to reality.
With a bump.
With a bump.
He's downstairs, vid my penny untied.
Yeah.
And the customers, they're on his case, aren't they?
Oh, they're not happy. Hey, Singh, where you been? Your lemons are limes. Your bananas are plantain.
They're not letting him get away with anything.
No way. It's hilarious, isn't it? Like, he's just been upstairs having this, you know, romantic moment.
Yeah.
And then, bam, he's back in this chaotic shop where nothing seems to be right.
Nothing's in the right place. And he doesn't really seem to care, does he?
He doesn't seem too bothered, does he?
Not really. It's almost like he's got other things on his mind.
Yeah, exactly. And that description of the shop, the worst Indian shop on the whole Indian road.
I mean, it's brilliant, isn't it?
It's exaggerated.
Oh, it's huge exaggeration.
Yeah.
Hyperbole.
Hyperbole.
We can take that one off the list.
Yeah.
But it shows, doesn't it, just how little he cares about the shop.
Yeah. Compared to how he feels about his wife. It's so funny.
It is, yeah. And it's all going on while he can still hear his wife upstairs.
High heel tap to ground.
Yeah. It's like she's always there at the back of his mind.
A constant reminder.
Yeah. Maybe even a bit of distraction.
Oh, maybe. Temptation.
Yeah, yeah. And then we find out she's running this Sikh lover site.
Yeah. Which is, you know, pretty modern.
Very 21st century.
It is, yeah. Like, it's not just a love story from any time.
Yeah.
It's set in our world. And that her, you know, her Sikh liver site.
Just Sikh liver site, yeah.
It shows she's independent, doesn't it?
Right.
She's got her own thing going on. And
Yeah.
then there's that line about, you know, booking the cats.
2 cat on her Sikh lover site.
Yeah. For D meat, die cheese of her price. Like, what's going on there?
I don't know. But it adds to that sense of her being, you know, a strong character.
Yeah. With her own way of doing things.
Yeah, exactly. And we also get a glimpse into her relationship with his parents, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Which sounds lively, to say the least.
I'm pretty chaotic.
He says she's effing at my mum in all dye colors of Punjabi.
Yeah. Not holding back.
And making fun at my daddy. But he finds it funny, doesn't he?
He does. Which says a lot about him and his parents, I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, if he's finding that amusing,
Yeah.
it's not exactly a close, loving relationship, is it?
No, it definitely reinforces that distance we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And it just shows how much he's on his wife's side.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Yeah, you know? Like, they're a team, even if it means, you know, going up against his parents.
Yeah.
It's us against the world.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you get these descriptions of his wife. Tiny eyes of a gun and dimmy of a teddy.
Oh, I love those lines.
It's just so vivid, isn't it?
It is, yeah. She's fierce, but she's also soft.
Yeah.
You know? And he loves all of it.
He clearly does, yeah.
Mhm.
And he keeps repeating, my bride.
My bride, yeah.
It's almost like he can't get her out of his head.
Yeah. Like, she's all he can think about. And it's interesting how he describes her clothes as well.
Oh, yeah.
Red crew cut, and she wear a tartan sari, a donkey jacket, and some pumps.
I mean, that's quite a look.
It is, isn't it? It's this amazing mix. You've got traditional Indian dress, but then, tartan.
Yeah, very British.
British. And a donkey jacket.
Donkey jacket and pumps.
Yeah. And he just accepts it.
He loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it doesn't matter what she wears.
He thinks she's amazing.
Yeah. And it shows, doesn't it?
Oh.
How he feels about, different cultures mixing.
Oh, yeah.
Which, like we said before, is a big theme for Nagra.
Right.
It's like he's saying it's okay to be different.
Yeah.
It's okay to embrace different parts of your identity.
Yeah. And it's something that, a lot of people in Britain today can relate to, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So then we get to the end of the poem.
Yeah.
And things change a bit, don't they?
They do, yeah.
It's late in midnight hour.
Yeah. The shop's closed. It's quiet.
Yeah. And they sneak downstairs.
Whispering stairs.
Yeah. They sit on my silver stool.
Yeah. Behind the half-price window signs. It's
Yeah.
like they've got this secret little world.
Yeah. Just for them. Away from all the chaos.
Away from the customers, away from his parents. Just them.
Yeah. And then they look out.
Stare past at the beaches of the UK in the brighty moon.
Oh, I love that image.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is. It's like they're escaping, but they're also, finding beauty in the everyday, in their surroundings.
Yeah, exactly. Even though they're surrounded by, concrete and window signs, they can still see the beauty together. And then she asks, how much do you charge for that moon, baby?
And he says, it's half the cost of you, baby.
And it's so playful, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And then that final line is priceless, baby.
It's perfect.
It is. It brings everything together.
Yeah. Because they're not talking about money anymore, are they?
No.
They're talking about their love.
Yeah.
And how, that's what's really important.
Yeah.
It's more valuable than anything else. And it's all wrapped up in that word baby.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, quite English, quite American.
Yeah.
So again, you've got that mixing of cultures.
Yeah. Which is a recurring idea in the poem, isn't it?
It is.
Right. So we've talked about the story, haven't we? But we need to talk about the language as well.
Yeah, good point. Because it's so distinctive, isn't it?
Oh, it is. All those words like
Yeah.
yeah. It's like you can almost hear his voice.
Yeah, you can. It's like he's right there telling you the story.
Yeah. And it's not just any voice, is it?
No, it's specific. It's the voice of a particular community.
Yeah. And I think that's really important.
Oh, I think so too, because it's
Right.
about representing that community.
Yeah.
Their culture, their way of speaking.
Yeah. And making it, a part of literature.
Exactly. It's about giving them a voice.
Yeah. Which is something that Nagra does really well, I think.
I agree. And then you've got all those contrasting images like tiny eyes of a gun and tummy of a teddy.
Yeah.
And those shifts in time.
The 9 o'clock to 9 o'clock.
A midnight hour.
Yeah. And then there's the language itself, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like red, silver. It all feels very, very immediate, very, very simple.
It does, yeah. And I think that simplicity, it makes the poem feel more honest somehow.
Oh, yeah. More real. Yeah.
And more relatable.
Yeah, definitely. And then the things that make it sound like a song.
Oh.
The refrains. In the worst Indian shop, on this whole Indian road, and my bride.
My bride.
Yeah. They're like a chorus, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. And then there's that back and forth in the last few lines.
She say, I say. Yeah.
It's like a conversation.
Yeah. A love song.
Yeah.
And don't forget the couplets.
Oh, yeah.
These 2-line stanzas.
Yeah. Which we usually associate with love poems, don't we?
Yeah. So it all fits together really well.
It does.
So even though we haven't looked at any other poems today,
Yeah.
you can see how Sing Song fits into this whole theme, can't you?
We can.
Of love and relationships.
Yeah, yeah. And how intense that feeling can be
Yeah.
when you're, completely head over heels.
Yeah. And I suppose, thinking about how it's written
Yeah.
compared to other poems,
Yeah.
that could be something interesting to think about.
Definitely. How do the poets approach these themes differently?
Yeah.
What kind of language do they use? How do they structure their poems?
Yeah.
Lots to think about.
Right. So to wrap things up then, Sing Song. It's a really energetic poem, isn't it?
It is.
Full of life, full of humor.
Yeah.
It's this modern love story
Yeah.
set against this really specific backdrop
Yeah.
of a family-run shop.
Yeah. And those cultural differences.
Yeah. But I think what it really comes down to is this celebration of love.
Yeah. And the importance of connection.
Yeah. He chooses his wife over everything else.
Yeah, he does.
Well, I guess that's what we want you to think about as you go away and maybe read the poem again.
Yeah.
Does the humor make the love story stronger?
Good question.
Yeah. Does it make it more, I don't know, more real, more relatable?
Definitely something to consider.
Yeah. Food for thought.
It is.
Yeah. Well, that's all from us.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. We'll be back soon with another poem.
Yeah, see you next time.
Bye for now.